Okay, good morning. Thanks for coming with us to join us today. We're happy to announce the hiring of two new head coaches here at Dartmouth High School. Mike Granfield will be our new head boys basketball coach, and John Brough will be our new head indoor boys track coach. Both are graduates of Dartmouth High School. They were actually both student athletes here when I first arrived 10 years ago. Both competed in multiple programs here at Dartmouth High School, and both went on to compete in college at Bridgewater State, actually, both of them. John in track and Mike as well in boys men's basketball. They've both come back after college to join our staffs in multiple roles. John has been the head coach of our unified track program, unified basketball program, and he's also our lead teacher in our special ed department, taking on various leadership roles in a short time here. Mike does not work for us full-time at the moment, but he's been a member of our coaching staff for boys basketball in the voluntary capacity when he first got out of college for several years. Left to go to Middleborough in a more official capacity as a JV boys basketball coach as well as assistant football coach. So he's proven he could do it elsewhere, not just at home. And then, he had a desire to come back here, and he joined our staff last year in a full-time capacity at boys basketball. And we're ecstatic to have them both return to where they started and be positive contributors to our staff moving forward. So.
We just talk about each guy.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You sure? I'll start with John. John, in a really short time here, he impressed many people just in his role as teacher. He's taken on any and all responsibilities. He's taken on leadership roles. Very professional, very organized. His experience both as an athlete here and in college make him a logical choice to lead our track program. Develops relationships with kids and adults, sort of unifies people. And I think that, he'll do a really good job because of that. Likewise, Mike develops relationships with kids. I get to see it firsthand as he was a member of our staff. Kids are really drawn to Mike, his experience, and John. Just having that experience in college as well. I liken it to getting a master's degree. They get their bachelor's degree here, playing sports here at Dartmouth High School, and then experience a whole level of coaching and a whole level of experience at the college level. I think they both bring that. So Mike was able to play and get exposed to really good coaching at Bridgewater State. And in a short time, when Mike first started as a volunteer, I was able to see what he brought to the table very quickly. Very good basketball mind. Had really good suggestions both in game and outside of the game at a very, very young age. I am very confident that they both will do a great job here in leading our kids.
Yes, so Jeff, you were doing previous boys basketball.
Sure.
What led your decision to step down?
Just time for maybe someone else to take over. I think it's just, for me personally, it was just time to focus on other things, be better at less things, if you will. So, but really for today, just happy for Mike, happy for our kids that they're going to have, a younger, enthusiastic leader who will, take the program and run with it.
Doing any mentoring or anything like that?
As needed. I don't think Mike will need much help, but I'm certainly here to help him any and all help that he needs.
How did the search process kind of play out?
It was very typical. I mean, we did a wide search. We had applicants from as far as China, believe it or not. I don't know how they were going to commute here, but we did have people from all over the world, honestly, apply for the job. So it was open, and we truly wanted to get the best person. And at the end of the search, we truly feel that that person was right here with us all along. So we were happy with our pool of applicants, and we're certainly ecstatic about our choice. Sure.
Good morning, and again, thanks for joining us at Dartmouth High School. We're very excited to start a new tradition, or to not start a new tradition, but to build on the tradition of excellence that the athletic program has had at Dartmouth High School for a number of years. We're very mindful of our past, which has included some excellent coaches like Carlin Lynch and Mr. Gaspar and Coach Poirier and certainly Coach White. And, we have a lot of great coaches here, and we feel very strongly that both John Bro and Michael Granfield are kind of that next generation of great coaches at Dartmouth High School. In both cases, in both basketball and the winter track, there were some excellent applicants, but at the end of the day, anytime you can add products of your school, I think that just they both serve as great role models for our current student athletes. They both speak to the quality of the program that Dartmouth High School offers, and beyond that, they both have tremendous experience, as Jeff mentioned, playing at the collegiate level in their respective sports. But again, beyond that, what stood out for me in the interview process is they both spoke to having higher expectations for our student athletes. We hold all students to high expectations, but especially if you're going to be a member of our athletic program, we expect that with that privilege and honor, you raise your commitment level to Dartmouth High School. So we're proud of both of them for having those high expectations. We also feel like they're going to generate some buzz and some excitement around their respective programs. Two very important high-profile programs. Basketball, obviously, I think traditionally across high school is seen as one of the major programs, but winter track is one of our largest programs at Dartmouth High School as well. And so I know that Coach Bro is certainly planning to hit the ground running and raise the tempo and rigor and expectations of that program, and really push our student athletes. The other piece that really excites me is that they have connections at the local college level. I know Coach Granfield's already, from his Twitter, his basketball Twitter account, he's already attended a few local collegiate practices and clinics already since being named the head coach just last week. So we're excited to be able to leverage those connections and create opportunities for our student athletes who want to play at the next level. I think that's an exciting aspect that each of them bring. And again, beyond that, we're really excited to be able to have a couple of very young, dynamic head coaches who we hope will be at Dartmouth High School for years to come.
Whoever wants to go first here, probably more individual questions between you guys.
So go for it.
All right.
You're the teacher.
All right. First, you can just kind of run through a little kind of brief resume, I guess, of experience as an athlete and coach.
I think Jeff and Ross hit on that very nicely. I mean, I graduated here in 2011. I'd come through the track program, and then I was fortunate indoor and outdoor, and then cross country my senior year in high school, and then very fortunate that the coaches that have been here since I was in school and that are still a part of this program, Jeff Reed and Hillary Souza, they gave me the opportunity to find my passion with the sport, and then I took that to Bridgewater and ran 4 years of track, indoor and outdoor there, and 2 seasons of cross country. And then, very fortunate that Jeff and at the time John were able to allow me the opportunity to start that unified track program, and I've jumped on board with this indoor track program 2 years ago. So I just felt that this was kind of the next step. It was something I was ready for.
What were your events?
In high school, I was the mile and the 2 mile. And then in college, I did anything from the 800 to the 10K. So I have distance as a background. The last 2 years here, I've coached sprints, and then long jump was my real focus here. So I've kind of dabbled in almost everything, with the exception of high jump and hurdles. But I'm just excited for the opportunity, to be honest.
What is it about coaching that draws you to it?
Just to give back. I think, Jeff Reed, I have some big shoes to fill. He was a great coach, and, like I said, he helped me find my passion in the sport. And I just think having that opportunity in high school and then taking that to the next level in college, I want to give that same opportunity back to, this next generation of student athletes.
Anything you're going to be looking to do in terms of unified athletics, bring everything that you've learned from there
into the
Yeah, you learn through Unified. You're handling two different groups of the student body with the special ed and the regular ed kids, and I just think the management skills that go into the Unified program, I think that helped get me ready to make this next jump to head coach, just organizationally. So.
track. A lot of kids doing a lot of different things. Kind of mentioned there organizationally. Is that going to be one of the biggest challenges? Is kind of making sure that the hurdlers have attention and the sprinters and the distance kids.
Yeah, of course. The nice part too is this program is well established, and it hasn't changed much since I was here as an athlete, and that's in those 10 years. And Kate McCarron does a phenomenal job with running the program. And last year she kind of took on roles outdoor, both head girls and guys coach. So I mean she's well established. The assistant coaches with like Rocky and Hillary, they've been around since I was in school and well before that, and they're well established in their roles. So I don't think there's really much for me to come in and change, and I don't think I will. Like Mr. Tebow and Jeff have talked about, it's making sure that the kids are focused and that they're challenged, and that's kind of the only thing that's going to be a little altering. But the program is well established, so I'm kind of just stepping in. So.
Start with the same little kind of resume.
Yeah. So I played here from 2006 to 2010 for Mr. Gasper. Played 3 years varsity, and we were part of some pretty successful teams here during that time period. I also played football here for Coach White during that time frame. Then I moved on to Bridgewater. I played as a freshman there. I ended up getting cut as a sophomore, and then I worked my way back and played as a junior and senior, and was voted captain my senior year. We made 2 NCAA tournament appearances during that time at the Division III level. Then after that, I came back. Coach Karen had asked me to become part of his staff as a volunteer, so I jumped right on that opportunity just to be able to give back to the kids. And then, as he said earlier, there was an opportunity for me to go to Middleborough, more of an official standpoint, being the JV coach. So I joined that for a year. I was already coaching football there too, and I was trying to establish myself as a teacher at the time too, and trying to get into a district. So moved to Middleborough for a year, and then he ended up calling me back the following year, saying there was an opportunity to coach freshman year. So I came back, and it's kind of just the place I want to be.
How long have you been coaching the freshman?
Last year was my first season as freshman. I spent 2 or 3 years with him as a volunteer before that.
And then 1 year in Middleborough?
Yep, 1 year in Middleborough for basketball.
And are you teaching somewhere now?
I teach in Lakeville, yep. It's Assawamsett Elementary School. It's a kindergarten and 3rd grade elementary school.
What do you teach?
Health and phys ed.
So what attracted you to this position?
There's a lot of tradition that goes with it. Coach Karen's done a great job. Mr. Gasper's done a great job. I spoke in my interview about when I was thinking about going through this application process that I've kind of been around the Dartmouth basketball program since I was about 8 or 9 years old. I had a brother who played here in the late 90s and early 2000s. So during that time, I used to do the camera for Mr. Gasper and film the games for him. I'd go on the bus for away games, and so I kind of stayed through all the way to high school as a player. So I've been around the program for a while, and it means a lot to me. So as soon as this opportunity opened, I really wanted to jump on it.
What is Michael Granfield coach team? What are some of the philosophies and tenets that you like to bring?
We're always going to be one of the most prepared teams. They'll never take the court being unprepared. We're going to be hardworking, tenacious. We're going to have tremendous class for opponents, for officials, for whoever it is. We're going to take pride in that.
Are you kind of a coach that likes to you have your style, or are you kind of a guy who likes to look at the room and see what you got in the room and then build something around that?
If you asked me that question a couple years ago, I'd say I have a style, but I've learned watching Coach Karen that you kind of have to adjust from year to year. And some things that you'd like to do, you can kind of test it out, but it might not work, so you better have a plan B. So I have an idea of some things I'd like to do, but things change, so you have to be pretty adaptable with that.
What would be some of the basics maybe, do you like to be a pressing team? Do you like to be a running team? Do you,
Personally, I like to play fast. I kind of like to go, be pretty physical on defense. But I think some things that might be beneficial to us is trying to slow some teams down and kind of get them uncomfortable and take them out of their game.
Are you going to be looking to come up from the freshman level this year? Are you going to be looking to bring with you from that level?
Just the connections that I made with the kids. Being with the freshmen last year, they have 3 years left in this program, so the connections I made with them are still going to be there. And I was around the varsity team a lot last year, so I made connections with those kids, and I kind of just want to keep building on that.
So you're not really coming in and just not knowing anyone. You already know pretty much everyone. It seems like. Yeah.
I've got to experience a lot of different people since I've been here, and some of those connections and relationships are already in place, which is pretty good.
Think it'll be helpful to have Coach Karen in the building?
Absolutely.
If you need her?
Probably right after we leave here, I'll ask him some questions about some things that we might have done, some X's and O's type stuff. I've reached out.
Press conference now.
Yeah, I've reached out to a couple of other people that I know in the coaching world and tried to bounce some ideas off of them. So I'm constantly kind of looking around to get ideas from various resources.
Excited?
Oh, very excited.
Right?
Yeah. When you're in high school and you're trying to think of what career you're going to go into, when I'm sitting in the classrooms in this building, you start thinking about what you want to do. When you start going into education and coaching, it's this place that kind of inspired that, so it's great to come back here and give back to it.
What I have, was there anything else anyone else wanted to say? Or?
I just want to share one more thing, if it's all right. Just because I didn't when I spoke earlier. One of the things that excited me about Mike was he came in with a detailed plan for how to create buzz around the program and specifically how to build a strong partnership with the youth program in town and the elementary schools in town. Dartmouth High School, we have school choice, and in southeastern Mass, many schools have school choice, and we're always looking, anytime we hire someone new, anytime, any facet of our school, we're always looking for continuous improvement and what's going to help Dartmouth High School continue to be the school of choice in the area, because we recognize that students, and rightfully so, have a lot of choice about where they go for high school. So I think hiring Mike just, again, helps us have one more program that's an exceptional draw for students in the area. And again, anytime you can add good people like John and like Mike, I think you go ahead and you do that. So we're really excited to see that partnership with our elementary schools and our middle school, different events throughout the season to try and draw them in so that we can get some excitement and make Dartmouth High School, a basketball school too. So.
Just one more question for Mike, if
Sure.
you don't mind. Last year's team really saw a lot of sophomores, got a lot of playing time. You saw the freshmen. You looking at the future of the program? Are you excited about what this program can do over the next few years?
Sure. The freshman team worked really hard for me last year. So when you look at who's coming back, it's a good nucleus of kids coming back. So just can't wait to start working with them and get into it.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.